Hello everyone, and welcome back to the ongoing saga of the GT185 that I'm trying to restore on a budget. And it's been quite a while since the last video. I've had a heap of other stuff that just gets in the way of the things that you really enjoy doing. So I'm finally back to it. I've worked my way through all the other jobs, and now everything else can just wait because it's been too long since I've had my hands on this, and I'm really just itching to get back at it. And I've actually been doing that. So this is initially an update on where things have got to. If you're not sure where it's all begun from, I recommend that you have a look at the previous videos in the series, and you'll get the rest of the story up to here, and we'll see if we can progress a few bits and pieces to get this bike back together. So as it stands now, obviously the engine is complete. You may remember from the last video there was a little piece that I had to find somewhere. I had to actually go worldwide to get it. In the Netherlands, I think it ended up being a little retainer ring for the bottom end. So I've disassembled all the clutch and got everything off that it needed to separate the bottom half of the casing. Put that little piece in. It's all back together. Couple of new bits and pieces, new clips and things and washers that arrived in the meantime, so they're in now, and it's all buttoned up more than it was before, and it's all looking pretty good. So we've got all of this gear selector mechanism in there. That was pretty flogged out. There's still a little bit of play there, but nothing like it was. Still waiting for a sprocket retainer to arrive. Here's our new front sprocket, nice and brand new, but the old retainer I've got, the distance between these is different, so I've got another one coming. I measured those 29mm from centre to centre. Let me just grab the old one and I'll demonstrate the difference. So the old one is looking more in the ballpark of about, we'll say close enough, 33, 34. The new one is close enough to 29, which means this retainer does not fit on there. Ba-boom. And neither does that locking tab. So that won't go back on, but the new one of these will. And I've got two new bolts coming as well. So just a bit of quick show and tell on this. I've got, apparently this is a very difficult part to get. I got lucky and it came with the bike, so didn't have to search for it, so I'm only going on hearsay. But under here we've got our oil pump together. I was waiting for a gasket between the body and the head. Got that now, that's in. And down in there we've got our lines on. Give them a bit of a polish and a detail while I was there, just why not, while you're at it. So they're there, the carbies are mocked up, these are brand new, still got the clamps to go. They're rusty and dirty at the moment, so I'm going to give them a clean up because we're doing it on a budget, right? You may remember from the previous video this wreck of a seat had me in a quandary as to what to do with it, but I've discovered reproduction seat, and the price was right considering getting a cover, getting a foam insert, and I don't know where I was going to get a base from. It seemed like a good idea, so let's have a look. And here it is. Man, that looks good. All ready to go. Suzuki on the back. This is like brand new. Got the grab strap. Look at that. I thought that was fiberglass to start with, but I'm still not sure. It's hard to tell because that foam is squashed up so firm against it that metal would still sound thuddy like that, because the foam is deadening the sound. But I don't really care. That's brand new. It's got new cushions. I mean, I'd already bought some of those to try and fix the old one, and this just came with everything. New hinges. Didn't have any of these pivots, but I got brand new ones of those. So I am absolutely stoked about that. That looks awesome. Okay, another thing that's arrived. This is the old one, rear shock, one of the rear shocks. And from the previous video, I was kind of contemplating what to do. Pretty sure I was just going to buy a new one, new set, and that's exactly what I did. And here they are, and don't they look good? Just got them sort of mocked up there. Swing arm isn't on yet, and I'll show you the reason for that in just a moment. But between that and that awesome seat, that to me is looking really smart. Right, so we've actually got the swing arm all prepped up and ready to go. The thing that isn't ready to go is this thing. You can see that's pretty chewed out. I'm guessing it should look like that. That goes on there. There's a, I think they call it a chain buffer or something along those lines. I'm having a lot of trouble finding one of these. A lot of trouble. It's funny with this bike, there's some bits that are just, you know, you could just about build a whole bike out of some of the bits that are available, and then you'll get something like this and you just search and search and search, and it's all you get is not available, out of stock. So, but I might just put it together with that on, and it's probably just a straightforward job of knocking the bolt out, slipping that off, putting the new one on, just to get it on its wheels. Now, thinking of wheels, I'll move on to them. So previously I was going to send these out to the vapor blasters, and that's already happened, and they've come back, and you can see the difference. They are really nice and clean now. I've actually clear coated that, so it was a little shinier, but the clear coat, you could just see like a little bit of shine going on there. So the clear coat's stopped it from corroding, but it's made it look a bit grey, like I've painted it grey and then clear coated it. But that is on the bare aluminium. It's just come up like that, but I'm okay with that. It was pretty bad before, so it's looking pretty good now though. Got them to go over the spokes and the rims just to clean all the rust off. The spokes come up really well, the rims not so well. I mean, they came up better than they were, but we ran into some hidden issues. There was something hiding under the corrosion, so let me just show you that. Okay, Obviously this is the front wheel, and this one is the biggest problem. So it came back just like the back one, very nice, all clean, looking much better. Spokes came up good, even the valve stem come up good, but guess what? It's got rust holes through it. So I think there's some more. Yeah, that's not looking real good. There's a few more here and there. There's another one there. So this rim has had it. Actually, I was just having a little chuckle before because I was trying to find the hole so I wouldn't be fumbling and bumbling for it on camera. But as I was rotating this rim, you can see it there. That's the soda coming out from the blasters, coming out of the hole. So that was kind of freaky. So that left me in a bit of a dilemma because I'm trying to keep to a budget, and I really did not want to have to redo these wheels. So I decided, just in the interim, to get this thing as a roller, I'd just leave them be. And then it's like, once the bike's complete and even running, everything's working, I can just take these off on a weekend and have a go at doing something with them. Which leads me to the next thing that has arrived. Let me show you. Right, so I've got a nice package from these guys. Don't mind showing their name because I'm actually quite impressed. They arrive quickly, the parts are nicely priced. So in here, oh, you've already guessed what this could be. Look at that. Front and rear rim. Plus I've had a little look at it there just to admire the shininess and beautifulness. That is a word, it is now. And that also describes these nice new spokes. The spokes come separate, but they come as a set front and rear, and the rims come front and rear, so I bought them at the same time, so they bundled them together, sent them all over, and it only took, well, I'm going to say a week and a bit. So considering it's coming from Thailand to Australia, I was pretty impressed. So I'll be rebuilding these wheels at some point because I wouldn't want to be going faster than 40 kilometers an hour on that rusty rim. So these will finish it off nicely. So I've done a little bit of work on the steering head. This is still loose, but this is all dusty. It's been sitting for months. So if you look at the timeline between this video and the previous one, you'll see that it's been months. So yeah, I've been busting to scratch this itch to get onto this bike for all that time. But there's things that get in the way, and you just got to deal with them, because unfortunately life isn't all about restoring vintage motorbikes. What am I saying? Anyway, there's probably a lot of people that went, wash your mouth out. Anyway, the reason I'm showing this, I've assembled this with the old ball bearings, and I've left this loose because I wanted to get some of these. Can't see that very well, but there we go. Taper bearing headset. So that's going to go in, and that's going to improve that stability of the front end. So some more bits and pieces. There's my brake springs. Recognise these bits from the last video. They were a real mess, filthy dirty, corroded to hell. Of course, that's the sprocket carrier on the back wheel. I've got a nice new sprocket for the back, and the reason I needed that is because my old one looks like that, and that gives you a little window into how this bike was ridden to death, ridden into the ground. So everything was just worn out, broken, trashed, filthy dirty, rusty, bent, you name it, it was it. And I really didn't know what I was getting into when I bought this bike, but you know, it was cheap, but it's sort of the nostalgia value for a 1970s multi-cylinder two-stroke is right up there. So what do you say? You just got to do it, don't you? So I've got all new bearings to go in this front wheel. They're the old ones, just for reference. Reference, new seals. What else we got? Brake shoes. So I've got all the bits I need to reassemble the brake hub. Got all the bits I need to reassemble the sprocket carrier, and then I'll put the back wheel together, and same with the front wheel. Get that back together, and we were a step closer. So now that I've sort of brought you up to speed with where I'm at, I'm going to see if I can get some of these parts assembled here and get moving on with this back wheel, and then I can clear this stuff off the bench here, and that'll be the back wheel all in one piece. So what I'm trying to get done here is I've got a box of parts which is this motorbike, and I'm trying to put all the bits back on it, obviously, and that empties the box, because I'm going to need that box before too long for something else, and I'll just give you a hint on what that is. This is my hint. Okay, let's get these components reassembled. I've given the brake backing plate and the sprocket carrier a little bit of a polish, just to give it a little shine. Put some clear lacquer on there just to preserve it. So let's put it together. So I'm going to use high temperature bearing grease for this pivot, because no doubt these will get hot and the general purpose grease will probably melt, so I'll just use some of this to make sure. Like that. So there is actually an O-ring that seals this, so I'll just put a little bit of something on there so it's not going in dry. Spacer washer. Beautiful. Okay, I've had the bearing and the seal sitting in the freezer for a while, so hopefully that will, oh yeah, thawing out pretty quick. So it's time to install the bearings into the rear hub. So I'll just go and grab them out of the freezer. Okay, here we go. Nice and frosty. Just making sure there's no clear lacquer on the brake shoe contact surface. Okay, I think we're ready to assemble this back wheel. Got our brake hub assembled. Got our sprocket carrier assembled, including the tensioner. And all this was just rusty and filthy like the rest of the bike, and including this is just rusty, so that's all mild steel. So let's just get a bit of light on there. It's come up really well. It's a matter of wire wheeling, rust treating to kill the rust, polishing it on the buff, clear lacquering it to keep the finish, and that's what you turn up with. So let's have a quick look over here. Got the swing arm on. There's my other adjuster just waiting. So I think we're all ready to go. So here we are, back wheel is installed, and man, is it looking good. And it spins so smoothly. So it should, brand new bearings, but just to see it all in place and looking so good, spinning so smooth, it's kind of really enthusing me to get on with the rest of this thing. Beautiful. Okay, I'll wrap the video up here. I'll just finish with a shot of the back wheel and suspension installed. I've got the engine in the frame, just put a Suzuki badge on the tank there. That tank is a long way from being finished, but just for aesthetics, and it's looking really good. So thanks all for watching, and really pleased that I'm finally back onto it, and more to come soon. Okay, see ya.